Hello, everyone. Welcome to Midas Letter Live. I'm Ed Molesky. We got a very interesting company with us today, and a gentleman here, Nick Hofmeister, who's the CFO. He's coming to us from Colorado, working. And Range Biosciences, which is a private company. And I see you just raised $10 million.
We're very happy about that result. We were on your show a little over a month ago.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And we were talking about that round then. We have since closed the round and made the announcement just about last week. And $10 million in the bank, ready to go, funded and closed it and closed, which gives us all the capital that we need to do the expansion plans over the next 2 years.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you have any of that money left, but that would be a joke. That would be a joke. Okay, so you got, you know, it's a nice feeling, because I know in a small company, you struggle. You got to, you know, you got to be a real steward and treat the money very, very seriously. So you got a little breathing room, but you shouldn't get flippant with it, right? You gotta. So
we take this very seriously. I've raised now more than about 260 million from various public and private sources for early stage startups. And this is really important money for us. We take it very seriously. Our investors from previous rounds, many of them joined this round, seeing what we did with the money that we raised previously, the milestones that we hit, the accomplishments we had as a company. Yeah. They were confident in what we were doing and put more money in.
Well, tell us about just tell us again about your main function. What do you propose to do? What's the value added? Why do we want to invest in Front Range when it be? I assume you're going public at some point.
No plans to announce about that yet, but it is definitely on the radar.
Yeah. Okay.
Front Range
just tell us about your company.
It's an agricultural biotechnology company. So we translate existing agricultural technologies to cannabis, and now also the coffee space. So those technologies include things like tissue culture, what we call our clean stock program, which produces disease-free, pesticide-free, and certified true to type baby plants. And those plants go into grows. Currently, we're in Colorado and California, and we're working on expansions across the U.S. and into Canada.
Right. It's you know, I don't know anything about this area, but just sounds to me that it sounds very high end. You know, it sounds to me this would consume a lot of money in the laboratory area. Like, am I correct in that, or like?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Yeah. Okay, that's the right answer, because you know, 10 million you might go through it quickly, and then you got to raise another 10 or 20 million. But anyway, so you're saying not necessarily.
I've worked on biotechnology companies for most of the last decade. And in those startups, you can burn through biotech money very quickly in a startup. You know, a piece of equipment could cost $1 million. For Front Range Biosciences, part of the reason that we wanted to form this company is that it's relying on agricultural biotechnology technologies. They've been developed and perfected over the past 30 years and needed to be translated into cannabis. So there was some R&D work to do that. We spent a couple of years and some of our early raised capital to create the process, but it doesn't involve $1 million DNA sequencing machine, for example.
Right. Now I see you're the CFO, so I take it you have a degree in accounting. That's your training, correct?
I have an MBA. I went to MIT Sloan. Yes.
Okay, good. But you've also been in the bioscience space for 10 years or more.
Yeah, about 10 years now. I worked on algae biofuels, nutraceutical and pharmaceutical manufacturing from algae, all sorts of products.
Yeah. Okay. So how long? You said earlier, and I want to repeat this because this is important. And I've been in the investment business for, hard to believe, but more than 20 years. Closer to 40. The bottom line is, like, you know, like if you have to keep raising money, that's dilutive to existing shareholders. And you're saying this 10 million is going to keep you going for quite a while.
It will. So we budgeted for that 10 million to last for 2 years. We're already earning revenue as a company, and we have a lot more revenue in store for us over the next year or two.
That was my next question. Like, no revenues, raise more money. And I don't like to see more and more, So you got some revenues, and you're going to continue to build on that.
We got our first revenues in 2017, actually, just a year after starting our operations. And then we've had significant revenues this year in 2018. And this expansion capital, the $10 million raise, is to expand our operations in Colorado, California, and therefore expand our revenue.
Yeah. And and maybe you can answer this and maybe you can't, because you're a private company. I understand that there's things you can say, so I'm just going to throw this out, but do you see a point in the near future? I'm assuming, being a startup company, are you burning money now, or are you breaking even, or can you talk about that?
Yeah, I can talk about it in really general terms,
which
is
sure.
We use this additional capital to allow for the expansion. So we are taking investor capital and putting it into larger facilities, and particularly more personnel. So we're a people-driven business in the end of the day, and we raise that additional money so that we could grow faster than our organic growth would allow us to do on it. So
how many employees do you have now?
We are at 30 employees in Colorado and California.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
a little
interesting.
After more than 2 years of operations in total. We started August 2016.
And how many people did you have at August 2016? 3 or 4?
3, yes.
Yeah, wow. Well, that's impressive. So you're generating. You know what? A lot of companies in this cannabis space aren't generating revenue right now. Well, maybe you can't sell product until it becomes legal, and it's not becoming legal till next week. But yeah, interesting. So now I see you got a couple of relationships here. Faith and Family Farms. Maybe talk about that for a bit.
Sure. Faith and Family Farms is a decades-long family farm in Salinas, California, so part of the Central Coast agricultural region there. And we made a partnership with them, I guess about 6 months ago is when we announced it. And that partnership is to grow marijuana under their license in California. So it was a way for us to get started early in the California marijuana market and begin our expansion into what will be the most important marijuana market in the U.S.
Right. Now tell me, I just want to be clear because I'm not sure. Are you a Calgary company, or are you a American company?
We're an American company, so we're actually based in Boulder, Colorado, or Lafayette, which is in between Boulder and Denver.
Maybe I got confused here. So you're not tied to Calgary at all?
Nope, not right now.
I'm sorry, viewers, for making that mistake, and we've got that straightened out. And okay, so the other question was, and it just escapes my pea brain. Now you've also partnered with Fringe Coffee in California.
Yes, that was a really interesting partnership for us. So Fringe Coffee is associated with a 30-year-old organic farm and breeding facility in Santa Barbara, California. And Fringe has spent the last 15 years developing new varietals of coffee that grow in non-traditional coffee growing regions. So this would be areas like Southern California. So they've opened up California to be a coffee producing market. And that is an interesting thing in its own right. But it was also interesting that through our connection with the University of California, Davis, we got introduced to them. We developed a tissue culture protocol and program, our clean stock program for coffee. And so we're now producing our first plants to be delivered to Fringe under a contract that we signed with them earlier this year.
And this is coffee, right? This has got nothing to do with cannabis, correct?
Nothing to do with cannabis. It is coffee, as in the thing you drink in the morning.
Yeah. So you're really, this is good that you're taking your technology and your expertise and you're expanding it into markets that may be connected, may not be connected, but certainly. Yeah,
it was very interesting for us.
Sorry, I keep losing this thing.
Yeah, no worries. It was one of the first examples of translations that we saw from the cannabis industry to another part of agriculture. Normally, you think of technology moving from the more developed pieces back to a new market like cannabis. But there, we had a great article in Wired, partnered with Fringe to get that done. And it talked a lot about how this technology we've created for cannabis was now applicable to an existing market, a $100 billion commodity like coffee.
Yeah, wow. Well, I like what what I'm hearing, Nick. we're going to leave it at that. But we hopefully we can come back to you as you develop here, and maybe just one final thing: was the money raised in the U.S. basically? Was this obviously it was a U.S. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. It was a U.S. capital raise. You bet.
Okay, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be broadcasting this in very shortly.
Thanks for having me on the show again. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Nick.